Imitation is the sincerest form of flattery. In any industry, movies, games, shows, comics, etc., we see the same pattern. A company takes a risk on the currently working formula with a new vision. If that vision is brought to the end in its truest form, and is good, then copycats are made. Sometimes because a creator thinks that they can add a new spin and do it better or more interesting, or, the more likely option, because studios typically learn the wrong lesson and want to piggyback off someone else's hard work and creativity.
First of all, remakes in general are popular now because of the amount of money a company has to spend advertising to get people in the theaters. And one way to cut through the clutter of advertising that's out there is to come with a title in recent memory that they've heard of. So, for instance, all the horror remakes.
In my little bubble of the world, the biggest copycat strain from John Carpenter's breakthrough small-budget horror film, 1978's Halloween. John brought a whole new brand of horror to mainstream audiences and money into bigwig pockets. 1974's The Texas Chainsaw Massacre made a measly $30 million. Chump change. Double it, add $10 million. Texas Chainsaw Massacre and Psycho may have reinvented horror in cinemas first, but when Halloween did it, it made $70 million, becoming the biggest independent film of all time, only to one day be dethroned by the Blair Witch Project, with which we saw the same pattern. Halloween saw many sequels, bad masks, and rip-offs. So many rip-offs. Prom Night and New Year's Evil are two prime examples. Movies that take an important calendar event, dress up sets to match that day, and let loose a psychopath whose motivations are stretched real thin or hardly exist at all. Of course, Friday the 13th is another example of this, with its popularity heights gaining its own rip-offs. However, it has since grown into its own and did start off with a stronger villain purely due to Betsy Palmer being a goat.
Oh, I couldn't let them open this place again. Could I?
Among Jason, Michael, and Leatherface rests one Canadian slasher movie. A movie that takes place not at summer camp, not at home, but at the most terrifying place you could possibly imagine. Somewhere you'd hate to be any given day. You might even look forward to one of these men showing up and putting you out of your misery. A deep, dark place only a sick, twisted mind could come up with. Your 9-to-5 job.
You want to be a troubleshooter, you gotta know the mind.
My Bloody Valentine is a Halloween ripoff, in my opinion, that is unlike a lot of others. From well-done character relationships, great use of the setting and its calendar theme, to direction that carries the audience through surprising scares, special effects, and action set pieces. Michael Myers' look is terrifying. For me, it reaches the uncanny valley with the castle stretch, and looks even scarier the further you are away. The impending doom of Jason's large physique and, for the most part, unseen face
What the fuck?
creates fear, because we know he can find us anywhere we go. But the miner in My Bloody Valentine is a force to be reckoned with. His breathing apparatus overtakes our sense of direction with sound when he's attacking. His pickaxe, heavy and sharp, can destroy anyone or anything in his path to get to that anyone. His ability to sneak up to anyone because he's hiding in plain sight is terrifying, and is established as soon as the movie starts. The woman is close enough with someone to have sex with him, and even she can't recognize the difference between the killer and whoever is supposed to be under this mask. Unless, of course, she didn't care who it was and wanted to bang, because this is a mining town in the 80s with no TikTok, in which case, you go girl. But what truly sets this movie apart from the slashers of its time? Why was this held to such high praise in my head for the last couple of years? And why didn't this guy just try drinking the hot dog water he was drowning in to save himself? While a lot of horror leans hard in either direction as far as no character development and all horror, or all characters and no horror, My Bloody Valentine strikes an interesting balance.
Let's go, guys!
The love triangle follows TJ, Sarah, and Axel. The screenplay and acting do a great job of introducing the emotions of TJ,
Bunch of clowns, things haven't changed a bit, same as always.
as he is just recently arriving back into town.
Hey, you wish you never came back, especially now since Sam is going out
He
with
strikes the
Axel.
emotion of what it's like to be teased about a girl he likes so well.
I'll skin off my nose. I don't give a damn.
His passion for her is seen so well on the cliff edge. Yes, time has passed.
What did you call?
He tried to go his own way in life, and it didn't work out for him the way he wanted. He is unconfident in where to go because his career is being shoved down his throat by his dad.
He's my son, and he's working in the mine.
But ultimately, he knows he wants to move forward in life with her. Axel is also wonderfully portrayed by Neil Affleck. His scene with the harmonica in the junkyard can come across as corny to some, but it is, to me, a beautiful showing of self-doubt and reflection. His heart yearns for Sarah, but ultimately life's roadblocks are inevitable, and he's coming back to his passion in music for comfort. TJ is coming back into the life of a woman he chose to leave.
I mean, I really fell on my ass out there.
Axel is just trying to protect her from heartbreak again. Their tensions rise throughout the movie.
I noticed things had changed around here. She don't want nothing to do with you.
With the old-timey block a punch and sock him in the jaw style, fighting like we see in Captain America. Ultimately, when Sarah is in danger, these two guys are good people who want to be there to save the person they care about and put their differences aside, ignoring the fact that Axel was putting them in danger in the first place.
That bastard's really playing games with us.
To be honest, I do find the reveal of the killer in the movie to tear me in two. While I think the reveal of Harry Warden's death is cool, I think it is revealed rather poorly.
They said that Harry Warden died 5 years ago.
Having a scene between the sheriff and the mayor a bit earlier revealing that Harry Warden is dead would have brought a bit more intrigue to who the killer is. Packing the reveal of Axel being the killer, Axel's dad was one of the supervisors,
It was on Valentine's Day that Harry Warden killed Axel's father.
and Harry is dead so tightly gives the audience no chance to figure out that it isn't Harry and rise the tension and intrigue a bit higher. This could just be the post-Scream modern lens that I'm looking at it through, because nowadays there's a lot of marketing in who is behind a mask. It's a big part of the intrigue of horror, and I wasn't alive then, so maybe the idea of the horror itself is the most interesting part to audiences of the time. Axel's reveal to be the killer is sad. He went through something horrible, and definitely didn't receive the proper counseling and care someone should. A result of the times he lived in, I guess. Now, my first viewing was years ago, and my most recent viewing was the much better director's cut, so I'm not sure if this next part is in the theatrical ending or not, but the ending shows Axel's hand trapped under the rubble. Sarah comes to him and holds his hand. The love you feel for someone is complicated and messy. Yes, from an outside view, he attacked her, he killed people, he's a monster, but the love she feels for him doesn't go away immediately, because that wouldn't be realistic or human. The writers understood that, making this reveal all the more tragic. Now, there's this amazing Patrick H. Willems video I'll link below on what makes the Raimi Spider-Man movies so great. The secret sauce, maybe. Spoilers for this video. It's the people of New York. I believe the secret sauce to a good slasher is no different. The people surrounding the supporting cast of a movie are reflections of the era, the town they're in, and the relationships of the main crew. When we see characters die in slashers, they can be so easily remembered not by the character, but by the spectacle of the kill. Quiz time. Who is inside the sleeping bag in Friday the 13th? Do you remember this at all? Or do you remember the kill itself because it is admittedly so very cool? Now, part 2 of the quiz. Do you remember who's inside the garage door when they die in Scream? Notice, I'm not even showing a picture. You know who dies in the garage door in Scream. Because the death is not only cool, but Tatum is a character you learn to love and has great camaraderie with Sid, Billy, Stu, and Dewey. Is that a fair comparison? Probably not, because Kevin Williamson is a GOAT. But the point remains. At My Bloody Valentine, we get a large cast of characters. The town itself might be small as far as the world goes, but as far as movies go, this is a lot of people to see get so much screen time. There are a couple of standout townies here. We are given interesting faces, performances to go along with them, and relationships that develop between them that feel like they've existed for years. Chief Newbie and Mabel are a great example of this. Twinkles are shared between the two of them. They are older, excited at the idea of something happening in their lives romantically.
I wonder who sent this.
With the unfortunate timing of her death, we see a heartbreaking scene of the chief receiving the box of chocolates from Mabel. Caught up in the horror of the movie, we are apprehensive to look over his shoulder.
That came for you, though.
Oh my God.
But are given a moment to breathe and just feel the emotions brought on through the world building, done by Stephen A. Miller and John Beard. Aside from those two, we also get class clown Howard, breaking through the tension of the movie, given by our own personal crazy Ralph.
Started 20 years ago.
And Hollis and Patty,
How are ya?
the cutest couple and maybe all of horror. Their love is evident on screen all throughout. He is seen caring for his friends and being apprehensive to go into the mine.
What a blast! In the mine, that's exactly what it would be.
He stands up for Sarah and stops the fight between Axel and TJ. He offers TJ food and counseling when him and Axel argue. When characters like Mabel and Hollis die, we care about them alongside the characters in the movie. Comparatively, I feel no emotion when the characters in the first Friday the 13th die. They lack the chemistry and history so effortlessly put forth in the cast of My Bloody Valentine.
I'll take care of myself. How did you ever get to be so
But
stupid?
of course, by nature of the genre, we need to take these characters to their graves, in style. There are foundations that build the roots of horror. Tension, iconography, and of course practical effects. Lately, there has been a resurgence in Hollywood's effects department from the studios. Now, it seems as if audiences largely preferred practical effects all throughout time, but studios would rather force bad working conditions and poor outcomes to save a few bucks, regardless of the result. Recent examples include the great work done in the Terrifier films, The Predator and Prey, and a lot of great work done in Smile and Companion, to name a few. The great work goes back so far to movies like The Thing and Evil Dead. Maybe Evil Dead 2. Movies that make you question why we aren't leaps and bounds ahead of where we are now, considering how great everything looked back then. We can talk all day about blending CGI and practical to get great results. Say what you want about the Nightmare on Elm Street remake, but I think the idea of green screen on the cheek of Freddy is a great look and idea. Anyways, My Bloody Valentine showcases amazing effect work done by a large makeup department whose names are on screen now. Kills that showcase the use of the pickaxe in interesting ways, fun setups, and most importantly, awesome effects. Look at his eye. Look at his freaking eye. And without tension built here, it wouldn't pay off nearly as well.
The tension, it was just palpable.
The horror of dying while you're exposed to someone you think you are safe with is so sad.
John, is that you?
And it's shown in the opening and in the death of Sylvia. I think this is perfectly done. The setup of the clothes dropping all around her on the surface may seem corny, but in this scenario she really feels trapped. She doesn't know this area. She's alone and relaxed and exposed.
Hey, but don't take
When the
too
miner
long.
does show up, he grabs her with no issues whatsoever by the head. The camera following her as she gets picked up and then swapping POVs to show how horrifying this can be is magnificent. When we revisit Sylvia and her boyfriend later, we are shown a truly disgusting and horrific sight. The water pouring from her mouth is grotesque and inhumane, while so intriguing because, like set up earlier, we feel for this character. She is in love, she is young, and she was alone. Why they would choose to do the dirty in here is beyond me, but it's cute. It has a young couple behind the bleachers charm to it. The iconography set up with the miner's flashlight is also used so well. We know and understand practically the point of the light, of course, but it is used essentially to give the jump scare of its time. It isn't cheap because it scared not just us, but the characters in the movie. We see brightly the faces of who he's attacking when we get his POV. We are put in the front seat of a crashing car and want out so badly, even as far as the practicality of the miner's design. The action is easier to follow for the audience. The movie is set in dimly lit mines. We need to be able to see where the villain is attacking from. When he is walking down a corridor, busting lights, or chasing his victims down a railway, we know it's him and we know he's coming right for us. Not every movie has Dean Cundy to light up the scene, wonderfully giving us very imposing shots of the killer emerging from the dark. But this movie sets itself up beautifully in its execution of kills. Yes, this movie is ultimately trying to capitalize on the success of another. However, when the MPAA was really scrubbing it clean of all that made it what it really is, it seemed like George Mihalka wanted his original vision shown. I think the dedication put behind the scripts, its effects, its direction, the level of detail in the sets, and its performances really shows. The movie only made a small amount of money upon its original release, but built a cult following over time, and it really deserves it in my opinion. It even made it into the ranks of the highest honor a horror movie could get. A remake 30 years later. What more could you possibly want? There are some horror movies that can get a watch year-round from me, because they transcend a specific time of year, and some that I can only get myself to watch seasonally, as they put me in the right mood with their set design and general vibe. It makes those viewings a little more special, as I don't get to watch them over and over and get burnt out. But when I watch this one, I always have a bloody good time.